Hello once again. I am guessing that by now you've already heard a lot about the car most people called the poor man's Ferrari for several reasons. However, sad to say, 3 generations after its release, this car was discontinued. What we are not going to reiterate is this sad story. However, what we will talk about in this video is that now, after 20 years, the Toyota MR2 is coming back to the streets as a 2025 model year car. And we're here to tell you why you should expect this return to be in style. Things you should know about the 2025 Toyota MR2. Let's begin with a Porsche Surprise. There's Toyota, and there's this whole rumor mill swirling over its cars. Of course, for a car like the MR2 that would be returning, you can expect even more hype and speculation surrounding the nameplate. However, one that stood out is an article found on a Japanese car website called Spider 7, where the idea that the MR2 is going to return as a product of a collaboration between Toyota and the famous supercar automaker Porsche was highly promoted. In fact, by now, the internet is so densely saturated with this idea stemming from Spider 7 that it is difficult to really decipher what exactly is the truth in all these. But as you're about to find out, there is in fact no truth governed by facts in any of this news at all. And it turns out most people have been promoting this info just for the excitement of it. To really understand where all this news must have gotten its root trigger, we have to go back to the fall of 2019, when a journalist from Auto Industria, Vince Pornelos, had the opportunity to be present at the MK5 Toyota Super Press Drive in Japan. During the event, he in fact got another opportunity, though brief, to talk to the man who led the Super program, Toyota Chief Engineer Tetsuya Tada. He simply asked, "You worked with Subaru to revive the 86 and with BMW to revive the Supra. Who do you want to work with to revive the MR2? Tada's immediate reply came thus: "For sure." And though Pornelos emphasized the taking of that answer with a grain of salt, as there was hardly any way to know if the man was in fact just kidding, it seems most rumor mills took it from there and spilled it all over the internet that Toyota will work with Porsche to see the resurrection of the iconic MR2 nameplate. True, there's no way to knowing exactly if Tada was indeed serious, but even if he were, it's clear that right now there is nothing, entirely nothing apart from mere rumors to support this fact. But if Toyota does in fact end up not working with Porsche, what's next? Well, this moves us to the trio worth watching. Yes, when talking collaborations for the production of the new MR2, we should not forget Lexus. Lexus, despite not being really dependent and working alone, is still being owned by Toyota Motor Corporation, so something could stem up from there. Though there isn't really any popular Lexus sports car, the LC500 is pretty decent. We have it featuring a 5.5-liter high-performing V8 engine that yields 471 horsepower and 398 pound-feet of torque, paired exclusively with a 10-speed automatic and the 3.5-liter hybrid V6 engine together with 2 electric motors to produce 354 horsepower. This engine also is paired exclusively with the CVT. Looking ahead from this standpoint, the MR2 could easily boast a beastly V8, making it yield rapid 0 to 60 miles per hour lap times under 5 seconds. In fact, it could be faster. That being because it's going to be less than half the weight of the LC500 at 2,200 pounds as opposed to the LC500's 4,540. This could be thrilling if it happens. But then again, we have at the other end, Daihatsu. This Toyota subsidiary, unlike Lexus, will see to the design of the new MR2. Though no definite lock on the final styling has indeed been made, we have some pretty good ideas. Since Daihatsu has to make a completely fresh design that will later be adapted for different brands, one serious hint of the redesign could be in the Toyota Sports EV concept, which had its share of eyes along with the largest array of Toyota concept cars ever seen in a single place. Though not immediately coming across as what might inspire the new MR2 design, it actually could, really. Now then, Suzuki. Personally, it would make a lot of sense for Toyota to go with any of the other companies rumored to collaborate with them, if they collaborate at all, to feature an engine in the new MR2 than Suzuki, but we can entirely rule out this option either because if, of course, the MR2 does come as an entry-model supercar, which it is supposed to, then it'll all make sense. Take, for instance, the 1.0-liter turbocharged inline-3 engine can be seen on several Suzuki models and can yield a 109 horsepower and 125 pound-feet of torque figure when in vanilla form. We will, of course, not forget the rumors saying the numbers on the MR2 should rise to about 150 horsepower. Nevertheless, this is really low, of course, when compared to rival supercars' engines. But up next, we're going to talk about why this car, even if it gets to feature that seemingly slow engine, will be faster than you think. But first, please like this video to help get it out there to more people as yourself, and consider subscribing to the channel if you think this video is being educative or informative to you thus far. Thank you for doing that. And performance, not numbers. So far, we can decipher that the 2025 MR2, when coming, won't really be a numbers car. But as we've also seen from the GR86 and GR Supra, not having a Toyota engine could not necessarily be an unpleasant experience, and especially on the MR2. For one, the car is coming with a target weight of 2,000 to 2,200 pounds. This compact mid-engine car should have a really good power-to-weight ratio, despite featuring a meager 150 horsepower, considering Toyota works with Suzuki for the engine after all. If we recall, the original MR2 featured a supercharged 1.6-liter engine that gave off 145 horsepower and 137 pound-feet of torque, but it was still able to deliver massively, attaining the 60 miles per hour mark in 6.5 seconds, which to me is pretty decent for that engine, back in 1986. And this is plus the fact that the original model came with a heavier curb weight of 2,494 pounds. So it is reasonable to assume the new MR2 could better those numbers, even if slightly. Anyway, numbers shouldn't dissuade you. The MR2 could perform really well for its price. Which moves us to most affordable? Surprisingly for a supercar, Toyota's main goal for the 25 MR2 is to become the most affordable sports car you can buy. That's really something considering most supercars are becoming more and more less affordable. That is, without even counting in the greedy markups, of course. However, if Toyota collaborates to produce the MR2, this could break down production costs into three. Say Toyota, Daihatsu for design, and either Suzuki, Lexus, or even the before mentioned Porsche for the provision of an engine. The developmental costs could then be shared between the companies, and that alone could see the MR2 costing in the range of $16,000 to $21,000. This, of course, is assuming Toyota does not add a line of trims for the sports car. And if I'm to comment on that, I don't exactly see how they could make several trims available for a minimalist in design car with small and lightweight features. I could be wrong, of course. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments box below. Nevertheless, if the MR2 really comes at the $16,000 starting price, it could well be one of the cheapest supercars you can find today, making it a compelling alternative that offers good value for a decent price. But all these is assuming this car really comes as an entry model. But what if it doesn't? A surprise twist. One really troubling rumor from the depths of the underground is that the new MR2 might not come as an entry-level model sports car at all. In fact, why this is so disturbing is that it goes against the entire notion behind the comeback of the MR2. If this is accurate in any way, then the MR2 is supposed to take on a much bigger rival than its predecessor, which apparently should follow with the demand for more than the bare minimum engineered into it. This is something you must have already been familiar with, but once a car gets stripped to see the addition of specialized parts or pieces to boost overall performance, the production, engineering, and designing costs goes up. And when that happens, the cost handed right down over to you goes up as well, which simply means that if any of this plays out, the MR2 could end up not being affordable at all. What the heck is up with that? But let's not talk rumors, let's talk